Hi everybody, in this video I want to talk about strategies for breaking free from the pattern of boom and bust. So if that's something that you recognise is relevant to you, do let me know. So the pattern of boom and bust can keep people stuck because it causes them and their body to be in a state of stress. And when we're in that state of stress, that puts the body in the fight, flight, freeze, and this stops the body from healing. This can really slow down your recovery. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what the boom and bust pattern is, why people boom and bust over and over, and why this is a huge problem. And I'm going to share 4 strategies to help you break the boom and bust pattern that I found really helpful when I had ME CFS. So very quick introduction. My name's Simon Pimento, if you don't know me. I had ME CFS and fibromyalgia for around 8-9 years. At times I couldn't walk for 1 minute. What really helped me get back to life, get back to work, was learning brain training and specifically mind-body approaches. And I create a lot of free content to help you move towards your health and life goals. So if you're watching live, do say hello. If you're watching the replay, just put #replay. Feel free to let me know where you are in the world. Do comment, do ask questions. If you like the video, do hit the notification button, subscribe button, and you'll be notified when I release more content. And it helps other people find the video. So I'm very grateful for your interaction. So let's get into it. What is the boom and bust pattern? So often it is a variation of the following. Number 1, people get some energy. Number 2, they overdo it. Number 3, they experience a setback. Number 4, when they experience a setback, they generate stress. Number 5, this stress slows down their body's healing. And number 6, they eventually recover from the setback. And then they go back to step 1. They get more energy, then they go through those steps again. So Dorothy says hi from Lancaster. Hi Dorothy, nice to have you with us. And I see there's some other people, so do feel free to say hello. So let me know, do you recognize that pattern? Having energy, overdoing it, experiencing setback, stressing during the setback, eventually recovering, and then repeating that same pattern. I did that pattern over and over, okay? It's a really inefficient way of using energy, and it stops the body from healing and recovery. And the reason why it's inefficient is it takes more resources to create a unit of energy when we are experiencing an energy overdraft than if we still have some energy left in our energy bank. Let me know if that makes sense, okay? It takes more resources to create a unit of energy when we're in an overdraft. So let's get to the second question. Why do some people overdo it when they have energy? There might be a number of reasons for this, and feel free to add yours to this list. It might not be inclusive. I think that's the word I was looking for. So let me know if your reason for booming bust is different from the ones I'm going to name now. So the first reason, number 1, people are in a position where they have no choice. When I posted about this, a number of people said to me, that's me, I need to work, etc. If that's the case, it's important to explore how to optimize energy use. And I did create a post on that topic. So if you would like access to that, I can create a blog post. Just pop the word optimize below and I'll create a blog on that topic, and I'll link it below this video as soon as it's done. And if you leave a message, then if you comment, then I can reply to that comment, okay? So number 2, people are driven by perfectionism. Some people just want everything to be just so and want to do a job that they think is perfect. So Dorothy says, I think it's because we miss out on life so much. Yes, that's a great point. And someone did mention that when I posted this content on this topic. So thank you for sharing that. And I should add that to a list. I should make it number 7. All right. So third reason, people are overachievers. They have a strong need to tick things off the list, and they experience a sense of satisfaction from getting things done. Now there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's not to our cost. Okay. Number 4, people are helpers, people pleasers, and this can mean that they keep going because they want to be helpful to others. They want to support others. Number 5 is that they're enthusiasts, and this was me. They get swept up with what they're doing. They enjoy being busy and productive. Number 6, they're influenced by short-term thinking. They believe they have to get everything done now whilst they have energy. But the irony is not, maybe it's not an irony. The issue is that this kind of stress-based urgency can actually drain energy faster. Okay, so Dip says being upset about missing so much already is like an attempt to get well by catching up. It's also bleak and Dip. Absolutely understood. Hope you're kind of recognizing though that this pattern can just keep us in that pattern of getting into a dip, missing out, etc. So we need to break that pattern. I'm going to share 4 strategies for doing that in a moment. So perfectionism, being an overachiever, people pleaser, are what we call adaptive behaviors. These are patterns that people develop in order to get approval, love, and to feel safe. Now, I've created a post where I talk about adaptive behaviors and strategies for shifting those adaptive behaviors. So, for example, I used to be a people pleaser, and that trait probably still pops up from time to time, but I'm not so much of a people pleaser as I used to be. When I look back at my previous behavior, I'm a bit embarrassed about it. And I've just been away on holiday with friends, and one of my friends said that when she first met me, she found me really irritating because I was super nice and too much of a people pleaser. And this person is from the north of England, very down to earth, very straightforward. So, she's a person who says what she means and means what she says. And that is my kind of person now, to be honest. So, as I say, I've shared a post where I talk about strategies for shifting those adaptive behaviors. If you'd like to see that post, I could create it into a blog post, pop the word adaptive below, and I will create a blog post. So, I want to share 4 strategies that I found helpful for breaking out of the pattern of boom and bust. Okay, now you can, if you like, close your eyes and I'll guide you through this. Obviously, only close your eyes if it's safe to do so. But I invite you to consider that what I needed to do is to connect to the part of me, and I invite you to connect to the part of you that is wise. Okay, that part of you has the capacity to be patient, to shift from impatience to patience. That part of you has the capacity to be playful. That part of you has the capacity to be pragmatic. So pragmatism is about seeing the bigger picture and keeping things in perspective. That part of you has the capacity to be present. When we're in the present, we're not worrying and dwelling about the past. We're not worrying about the future. That part of you has the capacity to be accepting rather than resisting. As I've said before, when we resist what is, we lose, but only 100% of the time, according to Byron Katie. You can connect to that part of you that is compassionate. And you can connect to that part of you that has a sense of trust. I saw a film yesterday called The Salt Path. And it's about a couple who lose their home and they decide to go walking in the southwest of England, around the coast of Cornwall. The scenery is beautiful. And at one point, when they're kind of very into this, they've done a lot of miles, they encounter this woman. And she says something really interesting. Let's see if I can just find it on my phone so that I don't garble the message. So what she says to them is that people fight the elements. And what she saw in this couple is that they weren't fighting the elements. They were accepting that if it was raining, it's raining. Okay? And she said something that I really loved, which was, when you let it be, you'll never be the same again. And that's my personal experience. And I've seen that shift in clients, that they've gone from stressing about symptoms and uncomfortable emotions to accepting them, to actually making space for them. And when they do that, something magical happens. When they stop fighting, that helps their body shift into that healing state. So, step 1 is connecting to the wise part of you. Step 2 is to identify your personal drivers. So when I think about what were the things that caused me to boom and bust, it was probably a combination of the following: being a helper, people pleaser, being an enthusiast, being influenced by short-term thinking. And as Dorothy and Dip have said, I recognise actually, there was a bit of me that was doing this because I was feeling that I was missing out on life. So I call these patterns, excuse me, mildly important goals, or MIGS, M-I-G-S. And I suspect that many of us get caught up in our mildly important goals. Instead of focusing on our big goals, I call these wildly important goals. In fact, I got that term from an optimized coach called Brian Johnson. So our wildly important goals, or WIGs. Okay? Often we approach a task and we're thinking about the mildly important goal. I want to get this done, rather than the wildly important goal. How does doing this thing that I want to do, how is that aligned with my wildly important goal? If, for example, I set a timer and stop and pause and tune in to what I need, it might be a little break, it might be to do something different, then I'm aligned with my wildly important goals. If I'm pushing through because I want to get it done, then my focus is short term. I'm focusing on my mildly important goal. Okay? So does that make sense? It's important that we identify our wildly important goals. Okay, we'll get to that. So the next part is step 3 is to connect to our wounded part. So there's a part of me, there's a part of you that carries some wounds. And that resulted in us developing those adaptive behaviours. What I noticed, the more that I connected to that wounded part, the more I had a conversation with that part of me. So it felt heard. The more I felt regulated, and the less I was driven by this wounded part. This part of me was then open to being guided by that wise part of me. The wise part of me might say, it's okay to pause. I don't have to do it all now. I can come back to this task. By pausing, I'm making a deposit in my energy bank. It's a long-term investment. So consider, what are the things that would be useful for you to say to yourself? It might be one of the things I've shared, or it might be something different. Let me know. So step 4 is to identify your wildly important goals. Like many people, my wildly important goal was to get back to health and life. And to get back to work, because I wanted to be productive. I wanted to give something, kind of use my skills, talents, etc. Okay? Because I do get sense of satisfaction from that. I don't want to make that my whole identity, but I do want to make it part of my identity. So it's worth you thinking about your wildly important goals and why you want to achieve those goals. I've created a little cheat sheet to help you identify your wildly important goal. If you'd like that, comment WIG below and I will put the link below this video. So someone might say, my wildly important goal is I want to spend more time with family and friends, or I want to work again so that I can earn money, so I can hire a villa for a month and invite family and friends and spend quality time with them. So you can decide what your wildly important goal is. Okay? And there's no judgment. So I invite you to use your imagination. It's fine if you decide on something and then change your mind. So then, before you do an activity, I invite you to remind yourself of your wildly important goal. And do that task with that goal in mind. Okay? When you do that, you're more likely to stop when you need to, because you know what your WIG is, your wildly important goal. Number 2, you can know that you can come back to the task. And you know that by pausing when you need to and checking in, you can discern in this moment what you need. And the more we're checking in moment by moment, the more that we can stay on track. In another video, I'll talk more about the emotional brain, but for now, I'll just say that the emotional brain isn't worried about you getting it right. It's more concerned with you listening to the signals that are coming from your emotional brain via your body, via emotions, sensations, and symptoms. Okay? So I'm going to be talking more about that, about the emotional brain, in a live session where I talk about my recent discoveries about how our brains work, the 2 intelligences we have, the 2 parts of the thinking brain, and how you can learn more about how to get your mind and body working together. If you'd like to join me in that live session, which I'm going to be doing next week, pop the word live below and I will share the link. So you can join this live session. That will be via a live platform, so you can ask questions and we can interact. And basically what I'm going to be sharing is what I learned about an approach called the Mind-Body Reconnect. So if you'd like to know more about that, and you'll have access to a PDF which kind of explains the approach, then comment the word live below. So In another video I posted recently, I shared feedback from clients who learned this approach and who've made dramatic changes. I won't divulge too much information, but I've one client who was very stuck not that long ago is about to do something pretty amazing, and it's a sign of her getting back to life. So if you'd like to join me for that live session, as I say, comment the word live below. If you've got any questions, pop a comment below. If you've got a topic that you'd like me to cover, then also comment below. Really encourage you to practice exploring these steps. Breaking the boom and bust pattern isn't about getting things perfect. It's about you becoming more aware of your patterns and gently shifting them over time. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what your body really needs and what's truly going to support your long-term recovery. So keep listening to your body. Keep honouring your needs. Keep coming back to your wildly important goals. You're not alone in this. You know, there are other people who are experiencing the same challenges. Okay? And every small positive step you take counts. They add up. Remember, what we practice, we get good at. If we practice ignoring our body and pushing through, we get better at that. It becomes easier to do that. But that is not moving you closer to your wildly important goals. If you practice these 4 strategies, or your versions of them, you might add some steps, you might do something slightly different. But if you ultimately connect to your inner wisdom, if you understand what's really driving your behavior, and you take a more compassionate, aligned approach, then you'll get better at doing that. And it becomes easier to do that. So whatever you practice, you get good at. So let me know what your key takeaway is. Okay, if you'd like more tips, do join my Facebook group. I aim to post every day something to help you move forward. As I say, if you'd like to know more about this approach that I've been talking about that applies cutting-edge scientific discoveries so you can use your symptoms to help you heal, comment live below. Okay, so a few more comments, so let's just have a look at those before we finish. So, okay, Susan says adaptive, so you want that. I shall create a blog post to let you know when that's ready. Dorothy says, since watching your videos, I no longer stress and get upset during a dip. I accept. That's absolutely awesome to hear, Dorothy. So, and I recover quickly. So that's really great. Thanks for that feedback. Really appreciate that. Susan says wig. Susan says live. Dip says live. Dorothy says live. My best friend is following the mind-body approach and is so much better now. I've started this too and it has helped me so much. Amazing. So keep going, okay? So I'm wondering if are you doing a program, Dorothy, or whether you're just following the principles in general. Really interested to know. But keep up the great work, everybody. Just to let you know, for some bizarre reason, sometimes your comments disappear when I end this video. So when this video is finished, do feel free to find it and just leave a comment below. But I'm clocking the comments that have been made. Maybe I'll take a quick screenshot of them so that I don't miss any of those comments. Let me just do that. But thanks for joining me. Keep going. Keep taking those steps. Doesn't matter how small they are. Every small step counts. Okay? So thanks, everybody. Bye for now. See you in the next video.